Game design can be really tricky because there is no one single element that will make or break a game. Games are various elements that have been brought all together to make a single experience, and any one of those elements could shine, and any one of those elements could ruin the entire experience. My most recent review, Paw Paw, is falling into that latter bucket, where even though many of the elements are above average or even excellent, there's a few elements that just seem rushed and unpolished, and they drag the entire experience down. Paw Paw is a brawler game that is not much unlike Castle Crashers. In fact, many elements of this game look like they took direct influence from Castle Crashers and tried to make a new spin on that very similar formula. Here, all of your characters are various mammalian species, and they all take up different classes. Each of these classes plays a little bit different. The archer specializes in ranged combat. Obviously, there's a barbarian that attacks very hard but also is very slow. There's a swordsman that's kind of balanced overall. There is a rogue type class that uses daggers that's a little bit quicker and deals more in combos. But the overall combat does feel very similar from one character to the next despite these differences. Each character can also independently level up, and there is a skill tree for each character as well, so you can customize which things you want to put points into, so you can make a more defense-based character or a stronger character, or you can focus on your skills. It's really how you want to build your specific characters. Each tree is a little bit shallow though, so in the end you probably will max out each one, but it's nice to have these customization features available. As you play the game, you also find new weapons for every single class. Only certain classes can use certain weapons, but those will function as a key way to upgrade your damage output, but also you can add a little twist by looking for certain weapons that have various little benefit bonuses on them that will further allow you to customize the character the way you see fit. The journey through the game is also not exactly short. There's somewhere between 25 and 40 levels. I haven't counted them exactly, but it does look like it will take a number of hours to get through this game. As well, if I wanted to upgrade every single character, I will certainly be going through this path multiple times, and so time-wise, there's a big sink of time you can put into this game. The question really though is if players are going to want to sink time into this game. And while I said in the intro, some of the elements here are pretty great, some of the elements here are also very rushed feeling and very unpolished. The graphics, for example, I'm a little hit and miss on. Some of the graphics are excellent. The UI, for example, just fits right in with the entire theme of the game. All the animations for the UI are very smooth and make sense. They all have little ease in and outs on them that just make it feel nice and approachable. All of the special effects as well for the spells and different skills that I ran into are all very well done as well. This is all a 2D environment, but I think that the artist that's been involved with this game has actually done a very good job in being creative with using what they have to give on a two-dimensional game. All of the enemy and character designs, though, are a little hit and miss. Some of them I really enjoyed, thought that they were above average, and some of them I felt looked a lot like a 2D Flash game from probably about 15 years ago. Though the game received pretty decent regard in my mind as far as the overall graphical design was concerned, I really took issue with the animations, specifically two different animations. Consistently in this game, walking animations either move faster or slower than the sprite of the thing that is walking, which leaves you with this kind of shuffling, sliding, moonwalking effect for every single creature. The speed of the sprite and the speed of the walking animation need to be synced up so that it doesn't look like characters are dragging their feet. Additionally, the jumping animations all look extremely rigid, where when you jump in the air, it looks like you're still standing, but this is made even worse by when you attack in the air, it still looks like you're still standing. There's no angles that are really given to the player character, and it's very distracting and overall very disappointing. To add to the frustrating elements of this game, I really felt like the music just didn't live up to the moment. There is a game out there somewhere that this music would be perfect for. Sure, it's a little repetitive, but this soundtrack sounds like it belongs to some sort of a cyberpunk comedy game where the electronic instruments really make more sense. Because the music doesn't sound right for the game, and because it's so repetitive, it ends up being a major distractor here. And for me, it made me just want to play my own music or turn off the music altogether while I was enjoying this game. My final criticism for Paw Paw was that the combat is just not a lot of fun. That was the hook when it came to Castle Crashers. All of the animations and the gameplay and the combat came together and made the game just a joy to play. Here, the game ends up feeling somewhat rigid, and when you go into the combat, yes, there's a lot of different combos that you can unlock and use, but they don't diversify the approach for the player. In the end, the most successful way to approach this game is to just mash the same button over and over again. This will depend on your class to some extent, but for most classes, that's the way the game needs to be played. Every time I unlocked a new combo, I never even used that combo. I may stumble upon it a little bit, but just mashing triangle or mashing square on my PlayStation controller worked to the greatest effect for every situation that I was in. Unfortunately, that makes for not a great game to play, and there needed to be a lot more attention on edging the player and putting them in situations where you had to use different approaches, and that's just not part of how this game works. So who's this game for, and is it worth buying? This one is a very forgettable brawler game. It needs some work, so much work that I'm not sure the developers can actually fix this game and put it into a place that it's worth paying for, or at least not worth paying anything outside bargain basement prices. I hate to say that as well, because clearly many facets of this game have a lot of love and care and time put into them, but some of the elements just didn't get the same level of professionalism when designing them, and it kind of drug the entire game down. So if you're a big fan of brawlers and you see this one at a bargain basement price, sure, it might be in your interest to pick it up and give it a spin. I really wouldn't expect the next Castle Crashers with your experience, and it's likely that your take will be that this is merely passable. If you like this video, then like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, take a look at some of my other reviews, and if you like those, then consider subscribing. Thanks for hanging out with me, and until next time, this has been Pixel.